on sound.
Hi friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will be finally setting up my 2025 reading journal. Now this is going to be a pretty long video, I'm not going to lie. It took forever to finally set up, and I do track a lot of spreads in my journal. So grab a warm drink of your choice and then enjoy the process. I will be also separating the video into chapters so you can jump to whichever spread you would prefer. And then if you stick around until the end of the video, I will be showing a comparison to my current reading journal spreads and the spreads that I built for the 2024 reading journal. For this year, I decided to go with a Lila journal in size A5. I really love the cover of this journal, and so I was very excited to get started with it. But I feel like I should have done a better job in testing out the journal before I committed to it for a full year, because as I was setting up a lot of the spreads, I was a little bit disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. This isn't my favorite journal that I've worked with so far. I feel like the dot grids don't really line up correctly, and then that kind of messed up a lot of the Dutch doors that I was working on. And then also the pages don't lay flat like my previous journals. So if I was to redo it, I would probably pick another journal. I put a lot of work and effort into this one, so I feel like I will commit, but it's going to annoy me for the rest of the year. So the first spread that I'm setting up is my cover page for 2025, and I wanted to make some kind of like a grid with my tombos because I had this little paper, like scrapbooking paper from Paperminty Studio, and I really wanted to use it, and so I wanted to make something similar on the other side because I only had one of these, so I wish I had more, but I only had one, and so I needed to kind of like improvise on the other spread. I then went in with another washi tape from Paperminty Studio to cover up the edges, and then the skinny washi is from Notebook Therapy. I had this stunning sticker from Marigona Sully Art, and I wanted that to be the front piece of my journal when I open it. And then I used another notepad from Paperminty Studio, and this is where I would write down when I started the journal and then when I finished it. Because sometimes I might go through two journals in the same year, so this kind of helps me keep track of the year and then the month in which I started and finished this journal. And no cover page is complete without a little quote, and I used these stamps. I think I got them at Michael's during their Black Friday sale, but it just says, "I'd rather stay at home and read," which is very fitting because that's what I'd rather be doing anyways. And the notepad paper that I'm writing this on is also from Paperminty Studio. I got lucky and ended up getting one of her Black Friday boxes, and I got so much stuff from it. And so I'm really grateful, and I love every single thing that she had in those boxes. And so I wanted to use them in one way or another. And so I thought this would be like perfect journal for that. I then went in with my round cutting tool, and I just like made the corners of the notepad a little bit more rounded. And then I had the rest of the stickers in the sticker sheet from Marigona Sully Art just to decorate and fill up some of the empty space. Marigona Sully Art is another one of those artists that I'm currently obsessed with, so you will see a lot of her stickers throughout this journal. The next spread is going to be my index spread. This year, for my 2024 reading journal, I didn't leave enough space for my index, and so I kind of like ran out of space. So that's why for the 2025 year, I decided to make some kind of like a Dutch door so that I could have a little bit more space, because I'd rather have it and not need it than don't have it and then need it. And then I use Simply Gilded washi tape for the skinny washi tape. And I'm obsessed with her skinny washi tapes. Those are so fun to use in all of the spreads, honestly. And then I went with another Lila Journal washi tape. And then for the notepads that I'm using, those are from the Paperminty Studio Black Friday sale that I ended up getting. I then just went in with my pen and lettered the word index. I know this isn't really an index and I should just call it a table of contents, but that is a pretty long name, so I didn't have the space for that. So I'm just gonna go with index, even though it's not the right terminology. I then had this other pet tape from Paperminty Studio, and I love her pet tapes. I'm so excited for her upcoming collections. Like, I'm a converter now. Like, I didn't really use her stuff before, but after getting the Black Friday sale from her, I'm literally obsessed. I love everything. She's so talented. So I just cut a little bit of the tape and decorated some of the empty space. I do wish the pet tapes were kiss cut, and I know she will be releasing new ones which are kiss cut, but it's kind of annoying like cutting through the washi tape sometimes with the X-Acto knife, so I cannot wait to buy some of her other ones that do have a kiss cut already. The next spread that I set up is my Shelfie. I also wanted to make some kind of a Dutch door layout in here, so I was thinking of doing kind of like a little library, but then as you flip through the pages, there's going to be more shelfies that show up. For the 2024, I think I'm running out of space in my Shelfie. I haven't set up my November and December spreads just yet because I've been so busy trying to get this 2025 reading journal done. But I feel confident that I'm going to be running out of space. So I made more book boxes for the next year. And so I'm hoping that's going to be enough, but you never know. And so in worst case scenario, if I run out of space, then I might just like add some more Dutch doors to it, which is no big deal. I also added some floaty shelfies, and these are primarily for decoration. After I colored them in with my Tombow, I went in with a marker to add a little bit more texture to the wood. I had this stunning sticker sheet from Marigona Sully Art with these little dragons slipping on books, and I thought it would be perfect for the design on this spread. I always tend to leave a little bit of extra space in my shelfies for decoration, and so you'll see that not all of the shelfies will be filled with books, but I'm just leaving a little bit of extra space so that in the end I can come back and decorate the shelves. So I ended up doing almost 3 pages full of shelfies, and they follow a similar layout, so I just skipped through all of those videos. But this is where I realized that the dot lines do not align across her journal, and I made a mistake in that I cut one of these spreads too close. Right here, this is where I messed up. When I turned the page on the other side, I realized, oh no, like I've cut way too close to the bookshelf. So yeah, I was a little bit annoyed, not gonna lie. But now it's like, it's done, whatever. It's not gonna bother me, I think. I really wanted to use this Marigona Sully Art sticker of this girl sitting on the couch reading, and has like some ducks close to her. Like, it is so adorable, and I really love the color scheme, like the pink and the green. I'm kind of obsessed with that color scheme, and so it kind of also went very well with the dragons sheet, and so I thought it would be like a perfect fit to be on the other side of the Shelfie. I also had a lot of freebie cards from all the purchases that I've made at Marigona Sully Art, and so I just took some of those stickers and used them to decorate the shelfies. the page felt a little bit empty, so I kind of went in with some washi tape, and this is also from Paperminted Studio. And the scrape washi tape, I think that was from Villa Beautiful like a long time ago, I believe. I haven't shopped there in a while, so I don't know if this still exists in her shop. But yeah, I thought like the washi tape just added a little bit more of a nicer touch, and then I just placed the sticker in that empty space. I did the same thing on the other side of the Shelfie, and then I just extended the washi tape to also cover underneath the bookshelf. And then I added a little bit more stickers from the dragon sheet. I love how it's coming along. The wall part was a little bit too empty still, so I just went in with my Tombro in a very light color, and then just did some kind of like a grid with it. And as I was setting up this spread is where I noticed that her pages don't lie flat, and that really annoyed me. So I hope I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the year goes as I'm setting this up, but worst case scenario, I'll just switch to another journal halfway through the year. But I already used all my favorite stickers in this journal, so I can't just give it up yet. And then I just used some little stars here and there to decorate the rest of the spreads. And that's all for my Shelfie. I'm really happy with how it came out. The next spread is going to be my Goodreads goal spread. I wanted this spread to have a little bit more of a dark academia feel, so I used the script washi tape from Villa Beautiful, and then the dark brown grid washi tape that is from Paperminted Studio. And then I'm making another Dutch board layout for this spread as well. I'm really used to the B5 size in my current journal, so this is kind of like smaller. It's an A5 journal, and because of that, I'm needing to like make a lot of Dutch doors because I cannot fit everything in just like a 2-page spread. That's why I'm kind of going more into the Dutch doors this year. And then I use some of the Marigona Silly art stickers, which are like the dark academia vibe, to decorate the spread. I then use this dot grid washi tape, is also from Paperminted Studio, as well as the little postcard that I'm gonna glue in there. Originally, I was gonna make the numbers into circles, so like for my Goodreads goal, but I changed my mind later on, and then it just did like giant squares. And then for the Dutch door, I'm using a Notebook Therapy washi. I really love their squiggly, I don't know how do you call that, like the squiggly washi. It's so cute. I just wish that we release them individually, because you have to buy a whole pack of washi, even though I don't love the rest of them, just for this little like squiggly washi. But if you guys know of any other shops that sells kind of like similar washi to that one, I would love to like learn about it. So I'm just adding a little bit more decorations here and there, and they're all from Marigona Silly art. My Goodreads goal is always 54 books, so it's 1 book per week throughout the year, but I always go above it, and so I always add a little like bonus section. And this year I added the bonus to be up to 100 books. I doubt I'll reach that goal. I've never read that much book in a year, but somebody can be hopeful. I went in with my alphabet stamp to type in Goodreads challenge, and then I also used the stamp for the numbers as well. I used the same washi tape to add some kind of like a frame or a border for the bonus title. And I just used my stamps to type out the word bonus. This is another die cut from the Paperminted Studio. I then went in with my pen and just did a little bit of stars here and there to give it a little bit more glitz. So that was my spread for the Goodreads challenge goal, and the next spread is going to be my A to Z challenge. And this challenge is basically where I read a book whose title starts with each letter of the alphabet. In 2024, I used these rub-on stickers, which are like alphabet, and I really loved how they turned out. So I went back to the shop and bought a lot more of those alphabet stickers just so I would have like a nice stash if I needed for the future. And so I'm reusing the same layout basically as my 2024, but in an A5 setup. And so because it's an A5 and a smaller journal, I needed to do a Dutch door as well. I wish I had done like 2 kind of Dutch doors just so I could have a little bit more space and spread them out a little bit more, but I was able to fit all of the letters of the alphabet thankfully in just like this 2 pages. I'm then using a lot of Papermint Studio tape for the decorations. I'm lately loving the look of a ripped washi tape, and the ones from Papermint Studio rip very easily, which can be a good or a bad thing depending on how you want to use the washi tape. And then I went in with some other stickers from Papermint Studio. I think this were part of like a dark academia theme. And then I used another one of these like no die cuts, I think, to be like my title. And then I went in with my alphabet stamp and just typed in A to Z challenge. If you've never worked with rub-on stickers, those are so fun because they don't add any bulk to your journal, so you can use them on any kind of journal, and then you basically just rub them into the page of your journal and then just remove the cover and it lays the image right there on the paper. And because you can just cut them into little stickers, you can do the placing of the stickers before you commit to it, and so you can just move them around. I then went in with my micron pen and did a little bit of a border for each of the letters. The borders are very different from each other because I just wanted a little bit more variety as to how I was placing the letters, and then they're also like different sizes too. It just adds a little bit more of a better look in my opinion rather than having everything lined up the same. I then went in with my Tombos and underlined some of these letter boxes. I tried to match the Tombow color to the letter of the alphabet color, but I didn't have an exact one, so I just tried my best. But I like that it adds a little bit more bump to the letters. So I really like doing this challenge, but it hasn't been a single year that I've done it that I've actually completed all of the letters of the alphabet. And I don't know, I feel like I'll never truly finish this challenge, but I still find it very fun to keep track of those letters where I do track. So those were my spreads for the A to Z challenge. The next one is my bingo spread. And one thing that I've noticed with the previous bingo spreads that I've made is that halfway through the year, I forget what books I read for each of the quadrants of the bingo card. And so for going for 2025, I wanted to do something more different. That's where I decided to keep a slight section on the right side where I type in the coordinates, if you'd call it, of the bingo card, and then I'll have the name of the book right next to each coordinate. So this way I won't forget what I read for that year. I'm using some of these stamps. I also bought them at Michael's, and it came in both like an alphabet and then a number. So I'm just using those to create the coordinates, if you'd say, of the bingo. I stamped the numbers 1 through 5 on the left side, and then the top I'm just gonna spell out bingo. I then went in with some more pet tape for decoration, and this is also from Papermint Studio. Now I realized right here that I picked the wrong Tombow color because this is slightly darker than I want it to be, but I'm just gonna go with it at this point. So I just used the rest of the washi tape to decorate the corners a little bit. And then the stickers that I'm using are also from Papermint Studio. The prompts that I'm using for my bingo are pretty similar to the ones that I used last year. Read a debut author, set somewhere you'd like to visit, an LGBTQ+ love story, book to screen, last book in a series, banned or challenged book, book with one-word title, sci-fi or fantasy by a BIPOC author, a book about books, didn't live up to the hype, animal sidekick, book talk made me read it, a door stopper, which is like a 700-page plus book, a shocking plot twist, inspired by real events, a retelling, owned for over 2 years, non-binary, genderqueer author or character, read outside, recommended by a friend, a 2025 release, self-growth, set south of the equator, and been meaning to read. The next spread that I'm setting up is the Buzzword reading challenge. And if you haven't heard about this one before, you basically read a book has kind of word in their title. There are 12 different words and you're meant to like read one word per month, but I don't like committing to a challenge like that, so I just read it throughout the year. And if I read a book that matches that buzzword, then I'll put it in there. And if not, no big deal. So the words for the upcoming 2025 challenge are a book that contains the word truth and lies in the title, water-related words, a thing, animals, two and two, memory-related words, titles featuring punctuation, the word with, events, the word never, violent words, and titles featuring alliteration. To write out the titles for each of the buzzwords, I used this pet tape that I had from London Gifties, and I needed a good pen that would write on top of it. So I ended up using a Sharpie marker because anything else will just like erase from the pet tape. So just use like a permanent marker kind of setting. And I really love these titles and they go great. And then I left enough space between each to paste in the cover for each of the books that I read for that prompt. And then for the Dutch door washi tape, that is from Simply Gilded. And then I went in again with my little stamps to type the word buzzword as the title. I had this sticker sheet from Archer and Olive from a while ago, and it has a lot of bees and I really like it, and so I decided to decorate the rest of the spread with this sticker sheet because, you know, a bee, buzz, like just thought it made sense. It was cute, so I just used those to finish up the decorations. So these were my spreads for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. The next spread that I'm setting up is the Favorite of the Month spread. Previous years, I've always done a book bracket kind of spread, but I noticed that it's so hard picking like a final favorite for the end of the year. And so I don't want to put myself through that stress again, picking a favorite. And so instead, I decided to just do a favorite of the month. So for each month, I'm just going to pasting the cover of that book. And then I'm not going to have them compete anymore because I didn't like the competition aspect. For this spread, I'm using a lot of washi tape from Simply Gilded. For the title, that is pet tape from London Gift, and that is like one of my favorite pet tapes that she's had. And then for the title, I'm using these font stickers, and they're from Coco Daisy. And then the round stickers are from Archer and Olive. I'm also using the Simply Gilded sticker sheet. These are meant to be for planning purposes, but I hardly ever use them in my planning. And so I decided I would just like write the name of the month in each one of them and then leave enough space in between to glue in the cover of the book for that month. For the Dutch door, I used another washi tape from Simply Gilded. I really adore her washi tapes in general. And I'm very excited because she's going to be making a Hobonichi planner sticker sheet coming in the next year or so. So I might get those stickers instead because I'm more of a Hobonichi planner. I'm using some more stickers from Simply Gilded. Then they're all pack of the same collection. So these were my spreads for my favorite of the month. The next spread that I'm going to set up is my series tracker. And again, I'm doing another Dutch door kind of situation in here just because I have a lot of series that I've started, but I haven't really finished. And that's either because the books in the series aren't out yet, or I'm just slacking and always picking up series without actually ever finishing them. So these spreads are super helpful, at least for me, to keep track and kind of look at a view what series I'm kind of like halfway through, or that I own the books for, but I haven't actually started yet. And so the washi tape that I'm using is again from Simply Gilded. And this was, I think, one of her like Taylor Swift inspired tapes. I really love how it looks. For this spread, I decided to keep more like a black and grayish kind of vibe. I'm then using pet tape from London Gifties for the decorations. And these are all like dark academia inspired pet tape. I'm then using my stamps, my alphabet stamp, to stamp in the title as well. And the way that I track my series, I feel like this is common across a lot of reading journal artists, where you just have the number of books in a series on the right side. And then on the left side, I can mark that off once I finish reading that series. And I started with like 2 books on the right side for now, but this is just gonna grow as I start adding the additional series. And I also haven't filled out the spread just yet because I've been trying to kind of like finish up the setup for this video, so I haven't had time to kind of go back and transfer my old reading journal series into the new one yet. The next spread that I'm making is my physical TBR tracker, and this is also going to be a kind of like a Dutch door, but with more spreads, just because my physical TBR at this point has gotten out of my control. I even have like an Excel sheet where I kind of keep track of them. So I think I'm at like over 300 books in my physical TBR, and I've only read like 40% of them. So I still have a lot to go through, and that's going to be like one of my priorities for the upcoming year, to read more from my physical TBR, because at the end of the day I did buy them. It just, for some reason, I get distracted by other shiny objects. The washi tape that I'm using is all from Paperminty Studio. The girls are from London Gifties, and they are also part of Bookish pet tape. And I really like the soft colors and how they went with the rest of the washi tape. I'm then gluing in another one of those Paperminty Studio cards for the title. And then the letter sticker sheet, that is from Coco Daisy. I decided to also add a little bit of a border into some of these spreads, just to give it a little bit more of color. hope I've left enough space for all of the books that I currently own and all of the ones that I will probably buy. I'm then using some more stickers from Paperminty Studio as well. So this is my TBR spread. The next one is going to be my ARC tracker. And now in December, I decided to open up a NetGalley account. I don't know why I hadn't done it before. I guess I just felt a little bit intimidated by it. But now I'm finally a NetGalley member. And if you don't know what NetGalley is, it's basically a website which lets you request advanced readers copies of books that haven't really come out yet. And so you can be one of the early reviewers. And starting in this year and continuing for the next one, I plan on requesting some more books through the website. But the thing is that if you don't have a good record of reviewing the books that you read, you will get like a low percentage point, I guess. And then the lower your percentage point is, the less likely publishers are to give you books. At least that's how I understand it, but nobody really knows how the system actually works. And so I decided it'd be nice to have some kind of a spread that keeps track of all of the books that I've received from the publishers. And this is where I keep track of like the title of the book, when it's supposed to be released, when I finish it, how I rated it, and whether I posted a review of it in either my social media accounts or my Goodreads accounts. So the washi tape that I'm using for this spread is also from Paperminty Studio, and then the stickers are all from Marigona Sully Art. I then went in with my letter stamps and just stamped out the word ARC, and then I just hand lettered the word tracker. So this is my ARC tracker spread. The next one is my Read the Rainbow challenge. And this year I wanted to do something different. So I glued in some of my black paper from Archer and Olive notepad. And then I used my jelly rolls to create some kind of like a design to go with the layout. And I can't wait for you to see the end result because it's so cool. So basically the way that I did it is just like I started doodling some lines for each of the cells, I guess, or like the grids in the paper. You use a different kind of color, and then you just change the direction of the lines that you're using. So you can either start with like going up diagonally or going down diagonally, and then just alternate across. And then this gives like a very cool effect at the end once every cell is kind of like filled in. I did make some mistakes throughout the way, but it's not super noticeable and it doesn't really bother me. But the one thing that does bother me is that when I glued these papers from Archer and Olive, I forgot to align them correctly. So if you kind of like zoom in, you'll see that the dots don't match across, and that doesn't give like a very even kind of look. So that was a bit of a bummer. So doing all these doodles kind of made me miss having a blackout journal, but I don't think I can fully commit to a blackout journal for a reading journal. So just having a few pages here and there, I think, is the perfect fix for me. So yes, I basically just went in and kind of did the same thing across. And this is like such a relaxing process, I promise. Just have like an audiobook playing on the background, relaxing, not really thinking about it, just go with the vibe. It's very relaxing and it's a lot of fun to do. So when I turned the journal around, this is where I realized that I made a mistake into the order of the colors, but it's no big deal, just like continue it with it. Usually like the cells across diagonally, they should match, they have the same color, but I didn't think it through because I was just like in robot mode, just doodling. And so I didn't really think through the colors. I made it work at the end. if you don't know what Read the Rainbow Challenge is, you basically read a book whose cover is one of the colors of the rainbow. And so what I end up doing is that I started creating some kind of like a frame so that I could paste in the cover of the book there later on. But each of the frames is going to have a different color. So right now I'm doing my blue spread. The way that I'm doing it is that I'll have my cells coordinating. So one is going to have the little like lines, and then the next cell next to it, it's going to be filled up. And then at the very bottom, that's where I added 2 rows of the colorful jelly pen. That just gives it a little bit more of like a Polaroid vibe. And so once I read a book whose cover is primarily blue, then I'm going to tape in that cover in here. Now, because I use jelly rolls, I was a little bit limited in the colors that I'm picking for next year's challenge. I definitely didn't have like a jelly color that is in brown or like a gray. I didn't really know how to do that. And so I just settled with a blue, a green, a yellow, a red, a pink, orange, purple, black, and white. I did make a mistake when setting up my white cover, and you'll see in a little bit what I mean by that. But that's going to be covered by the book cover anyways at the end, so it doesn't really matter. I then went in and wrote Read the Rainbow as the title. For each letter, I used a different jelly roll. To make the letters stand out a little bit more, I went in with a white jelly roll and I just added a border around each of the letters. On sound. On sound. On sound. On sound. On sound. So this was my spread for Read the Rainbow. I did went back and kind of added a little bit more detail because I had a lot of empty space at the end of the day. So I really love how it came out and I can't wait to start using it. The next spread that I'm making is for my historical fiction book club. And this is just like a book club that I attend on a monthly basis locally. I wanted a way to keep track of all of the books that I'm reading for that club and how I'm reading them throughout. I just left enough space to cover 12 books for now without specifying what month it's for. The washi tape that I'm using is from Paper Minty Studio, as well as all of the stickers. And then I drew in a little box. And this is where I wrote down the title of the spread. I'm using a little star rating stamp so I can fill out the star rating after I read the book for each of the picks. I went in with some additional stickers from Papermint Studio to fill in the empty space. So this was my spread for my book club picks. The next spread that I'm making is going to be my reading goals for next year. Now this is going to be a brand new spread for me. I've never really officially tracked my goals for the year in any of my previous journals. So I'm kind of excited, and who knows, maybe they'll make me a little bit more productive. And so I have 4 goals for next year. One is that I want to read at least 10 countries in Africa. And this is for my Read Around the World challenge. I feel like this is one of the continents where I've read the least, and it's a shame because there are so many cool countries in that area. The next goal is to read a sub book of the month on that month. So I subscribe to a lot of book boxes, and what I've noticed is that my backlog has grown so much because I just haven't read any of those books. The third one is to read more books from my physical library than the public library. Hopefully this will help me reduce my backlog as well. And then lastly, it's to maintain an 80% ratio on NetGalley. The skinny washi is from Simply Gilded. The flower wide washi, that is from the Washi Tape Shop. And then all of the stickers that you see are from Marigona Sully Art. The last spread in my journal is my social media tracker, and this is where I track all of the followers in my 3 main social media platforms, which is Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you're not following me there, shout out, feel free to check those out. I do post a lot more often in there than I do on YouTube, even though I'm trying to be more conscious as to posting more setup videos in here, but I don't know if it's feasible for me to do them every month or so. For this spread, I'm following a similar layout to my last year's social media tracker, where I did this kind of like hourglass shapes for each of my platforms. And then I will have little circles that fill up the hourglass, and that's where I would put the number of followers. And whenever I reach that achievement for my follower tracker, then I'll color it in. Went in with watercolor to add a little bit more color to the painting. This is where I pick a different color for each of my social media platforms. So for Instagram, I'm sticking to red, for TikTok it's blue, and then for YouTube it's yellow. And then the dots in each of these hourglasses are also going to be filled up with similar colors throughout the year as I reach those goals. So this was my reading journal setup for 2025. Enjoy a final flip through and comparison to my 2024 reading journal.